looks, I don't know, a little more down to earth than he sounds. He sounds like he's a little lost, probably a little mental. Needs to wash his hair. Terrence, I don't know. I think he's an idiot. I don't know.
You think he's an idiot? I confirm he's an idiot, Dr. G, and I'll just go all in. I'm going head first. He's an absolute idiot. And that response we just heard is a CYA because he basically threatened a president, which last I looked is a crime that could land you behind bars. And so what you just heard is him trying to CYA, and you know what that means. And he was trying to be provocative and appeal to a base in order to get elected. He is an idiot. I'm just going to go.
What does it mean exactly? Oh, I'm sorry. No, never mind.
Look,
well, he was trying to cover his hind parts.
That might work in some states. I don't know about Ohio, though. Anyway, you guys, thanks for joining us today. War Room is up next with the great Steve Bannon. Hug your children, love God, go boldly. Tomorrow's Friday, you guys.
Hey.
Yes.
Hey.
Lord,
see you, Colby. Colby making an appearance. Come on, Colby.
Do you trust Tom Homan?
Well, look, this is a tough one. And then what I said to folks here and folks on the street were saying this, and I agree with them, is that I said Tom Homan is more of a professional. Tom Homan called me, not something Bravino or Noam would ever do. But the fear I have with that is it we going to get more of the same, but more efficient at this oppression?
Well, he's one of the most extreme people when it comes to immigration policy in the federal government.
That's right, and I think that's the fear. I think right now, though, that Tom Homan's taken his marching orders from the president, and what I understood and the reason that I believe there's an opportunity for something to do here, because just to be very clear, what the White House wants is for these scenes on the streets to stop because it's tanking their approval ratings, and according to the president, it looks bad. If Tom Homan does anything here that makes that continue on, the president's going to be on him.
The FBI executed a search warrant on an elections office in Fulton County, Georgia today, seeking ballots from the 2020 election. Just last month, the Trump Justice Department sued the county to obtain those ballots, and as recently as a week ago, the president has threatened retribution against the officials who tried to hold him accountable for his attempts to overturn the 2020 election in their state.
What Fannie Willis did to innocent people, patriots that love our country, what she did to them by indicting them and destroying them, she should be put in jail. She's a criminal. I hope they go into the votes which are being stored in Fulton County and take a real look at those votes.
It was a rigged election. Everybody now knows that. They found out. People will soon be prosecuted for what they did.
I ask you about something that is going on, a conversation that had happened. A U.S. official is telling us that there was a conversation between border czar Tom Homan and local officials, and that conversation was, quote, precarious. What do you know about that conversation? Can you take us in the room? Have you heard anything about what happened there? And is this going to lead to any solutions?
So just so I understand properly, a conversation between border czar Holman and local officials like myself?
Yeah.
We had what I would call a productive and collegial conversation. That doesn't mean that we agreed on everything, but there was a general consensus that the present status needs to change. There was a general agreement that what has been happening for these last several weeks should not be happening into the future. Now, I made it very clear that Operation Metro Surge needs to end.
Did Tom Homan say he would end it?
He did not make a commitment to ending it on any given timeline. However, my hope, my expectation, is that the troops and the agents we're seeing will be drawn down. My hope and my expectation is the conduct that has caused so much chaos on our streets will end. But again, I'll believe it when I see it.
Okay, so
I'm so sick of Donald Trump and his rigged election crap. I just am. Just want to state that up front before we get into this conversation.
As you should. You should never get tired of doing that because he's being very serious. So MS Now has some contents, has obtained a copy of the first first page of the search warrant and screenshots of some of the categories of the documents being sought. We're going to have some information up on MS Now shortly, but I think it's important to note that this warrant is incredibly broad. This is directly connected to other things that have been happening recently in Georgia. Remember last night, folks, when we talked about the voter rolls in Minneapolis and the state of Minnesota and Texas? There's a map we're going to put on the screen. These are all the places where the Department of Justice has asked for requested the voter rolls, voting information. All but 4 states have received requests from them. The folks in green have complied. In Georgia, okay, Georgia's on a map. What color is Georgia on this map? Take a look. This is about not 2020, but it's about 2026 and 2028. They are trying to affect this election right now, and they are using intimidation tactics because they're going to search long enough just to find a little something, just a little there. In December, there was a tabulator error, and the Georgia Secretary of State responded to it. I just want to put this on the screen for folks. Fulton County Elections Board admitted to making a mistake during the 2020 presidential election. The county says approximately 315,000 votes cast during early voting were certified without the required signatures on tabulator tapes from poll workers. Fulton County says 2 recounts verified the votes during the 2020 election. They are trying to suggest, do not be surprised if the Republicans try to suggest that this tabulator error means something is really afoot.
What's the end point here? Like what? And, obviously the White House is scrambling. They're in the midst of a scandal. There are Democrats in Washington talking about not supporting the DHS bill. There's calls for investigations. There's calls for impeachment or resignation, right?
Yeah.
From your perspective here, like what are you looking for a sign that something actually has changed here?
Ice out. I mean, we sued the Department of Homeland Security to remove and stop Operation Metro Surge. That's what we want. They've got to at least go back to pre-Operation Metro Surge to the numbers they had there. And so this project must end. And that is really what we require, because essentially what the Trump administration is doing is using 4,000 armed soldiers, paramilitaries, to coerce Minnesota into changing policies on voting, on they call them sanctuary cities. They're trying to use our men to make us change the character of our state, which is illegal and unconstitutional.
I'm also pleased to announce I had a very good meeting with Attorney General Ellison, and he has clarified for me that county jails may notify ICE of the release dates of criminal public safety risks so ICE can take custody of them upon the release from the jail. And let me tell you why that's important. I know people are a lot concerned about the manpower has been set in law enforcement manpower. Look, I've said this many times before. I've said it for the last several years. Give us access to the illegal alien public safety threat and the safety and security of a jail. It's common sense. It's safer for the community, it's safer for the agent, and it's safer for the alien. Because anything can happen on a street arrest. It just makes common sense. And for the people that argue, well, we're a welcoming community because we want victims and witnesses of crime that are here illegally to feel safe to come to police without fear they're working with ICE, we're not going to talk to the victim and witness of crime. There's no problem there. They should feel safe to come to police and ask for help. All we want is to talk to the person that local and state law enforcement authorities locked in a jail cell. They chose to lock this person up. That's who we want to talk to, the public safety threat. So the argument is that protects victim witnesses of crime. It's a bunch of crap. Victims and witnesses of crime don't want the bad guy back in their neighborhood either. So great progress with the Attorney General and local sheriffs.
And we also have to count on our neighbors to keep protesting. We have to count on Bruce Springsteen to keep on putting out great songs against this. We need our arts community. We need to get people mobilized to vote, but we also need to continue to litigate. We're not going to stop doing anything to end this unlawful, unreasonable, immoral Metro surge. We're going to fight on all fronts.
Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard was spotted visiting the elections office during the search, raising lots of eyebrows. There she is in the hat. Intelligence Committee Vice Chair Senator Mark Warner of Virginia slamming Gabbard for attending the raid, writing in part, she's once again demonstrating her utter lack of fitness for the office that she holds by injecting the nonpartisan intelligence community she's supposed to be leading into a domestic political stunt designed to legitimize conspiracy theories that undermine our democracy. This all comes just 1 month after the Department of Justice sued the county, and as President Trump pushes for more than $6 million in attorney's fees from the now dismissed Georgia criminal election case.
I've heard from a lot of elected leaders that the midterms could potentially be a big problem, that the president is obsessed with the midterms, that the midterm elections could be their focus here, are their focus, to somehow do something like some of the things you just mentioned. Just talk a little bit, if you could, about the president speaking in Davos about you're soon going to find out, making a connection again, as he has before, with operations within the DOJ and the FBI. That's not how things are supposed to go, is it?
No, not at all. And this was the danger. You know, John Mitchell under President Nixon investigated anti-war groups and investigated various groups and people that were seen as enemies of the president. And we're beyond saying the Justice Department and FBI have been weaponized. They're now being weaponized to potentially change the outcome of the midterm elections. That's potentially, it hasn't happened yet, but that's how concerning and serious this is. And it's all these safeguards that were put in place after Watergate are just being eviscerated. And look, because one man, President Donald Trump, cannot accept that he lost the 2020 election. That's just the reality, I think, that we face here.
I had to say, I think this is such a crock. We waste our time with this BS from this administration. You lost the damn election. Grow up. Stop it.
But they're trying to steal the next one.
I know they're trying to steal the next one, and y'all going to be dumb enough to let it happen? No. People are aware of what's going on here. We can recount the Georgia election 10,000 times. We can review every legal document that was filed. We can look at everything the former election officials said about that election. And now they're still scraping and trying to find the bottom of Trump's lie to justify what they're doing. I just wish we grow up as a country and stop playing this dumb game.
Telling to me that the Democratic Georgia State Senator Josh McCollum went so far as to say it is possible that the FBI lied in their warrant to try to get these ballots.
Oh, yeah. Really?
This is the primal scream of a dying regime. Pray for our enemies, because we're going medieval on these people. You're just not got a free shot on all these networks lying about the people. The people have had a belly full of it. I know you don't like hearing that. I know you try to do everything in the world to stop that, but you're not going to stop it. It's going to happen.
And where do people like that go to share the big lie? MAGA media. I wish, in my soul, I wish that any of these people had a conscience.
Ask yourself, what is my task and what is my purpose? If that answer is to save my country, this country will be saved.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
It's Thursday, 29 January, year of our Lord, 2026. You're in the War Room. So a lot going on, obviously. The raid of the FBI to basically put hands on the physical evidence, what is a crime scene, because it held the physical evidence of the stolen 2020 election, and they know it was stolen. That's where they're leaking oil about finally the FBI stepping in here. Tulsi Gabbard is on the ground there, and I'm sure there's national security issues related to this, particularly how it was stolen. But this is a crime scene. The FBI is running this deal right now because it's a crime scene, and there are a lot of criminals, and a lot of criminals are going to be rolled up in this. I want to tell MSNBC or ShamWow, whatever the network's called now, all their hosts, and particularly CNN today, complete and total meltdown about the raid. Yes, it is about 2026, and it's about 2028. Because, and this is what Minnesota's about too, we are not ever going to allow you to steal another election, ever. We're going to set things right on 2020. We're going to hold accountable and make criminal charges about the people that stole the 2020 election. And in this case, it'll be in Georgia, but it's going to be many other places too. In Minnesota, in Minneapolis, we'll make sure we're going to get the voter rolls, and you're not going to have illegal alien invaders vote anymore, the way that keeps you in office. Jesse Kelly said it best, the Democratic Party is about 20%. Also, Tom Homan, and President Trump's strategy is say, okay, I'm reasonable, what do you got? But it's not stopping, and Metro Surge is not stopping. Ben Bergquam's asked a great question. Whole of government approach, you got Treasury, you got IRS, you got DOJ, you got FBI. They're going to set things right in Minnesota. There's no bending the knee. There's no blinking, right? President Trump tried to accommodate. You saw Ellison right there. Ellison's big give is that he may allow Tom Homan. Yo, dude, we're going to get the bad guys. You're going to get the criminal element, and then we're going to deport all the other illegal aliens here. We're going to take a short commercial break. That's Bruce Springsteen's new song, The Streets of Minneapolis. Enjoy it. We got an all-star crew from Georgia. Next in the War Room.
The radical left knows exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol. They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history. For thousands of Americans, it was the moment their voices were taken.
It's insurrection.
They were persecuted, hunted.
Seditious conspiracy.
But behind prison walls, something unexpected happened. They found their voice again.
Started singing the national anthem.
We took it up to him at Mar-a-Lago. He goes, I'll put my voice on it.
Our supporters made this go platinum.
Real America's Voice is telling the real story of January 6th like you've never seen it before.
Everybody, this must be peaceful.
This is not the story you were shown.
I take responsibility.
This is the story they live.
Government entrapment scheme that this actually was.
The J6 Patriots are no longer staying silent. They are speaking, they are standing, and they are telling the truth.
You can't kill us. You can't beat us.
Scan the QR code or visit RealAmericasVoice.com. Real America's Voice presents The Sleeping Giant. Available now.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAV Angel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive Homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAV Angel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
America's Voice family.
Are you on Getter yet? No?
What are you waiting for?
It's free.
It's uncensored,
and it's where all the biggest voices in conservative media are speaking out.
Download the Getter app right now. It's totally free. It's where I put up exclusively all of my content 24 hours a day. You want to know what Steve Bannon's thinking? Go to Getter.
That's right. You can follow all of your favorites. Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, Jack Posobiec,
and so many more.
Download the Getter app now.
Sign up for free and be part of the movement.
Okay, we got to do this. By the way, a couple things. We're going to go to Georgia and our all-star crew there for the raid, the FBI raid. We're packed today, but there is going to be a cabinet meeting at 11 o'clock. We're going to cut to the cabinet meeting. The president's going to, I think, say, drop some bombs in the cabinet meeting, so we're definitely going to go there. Peter Schweizer's book, with the assist from the War Room Posse, #1 New York Times bestseller. Today, this is the book that ties it all together about the foreign influence, foreign governments of Mexico, the Chinese Communist Party, and other globalist elites that are in the back paying for all this. Tom Homan did say to Ben Bergquam, the great Ben Bergquam asked the best question today in this press conference about, are you going to go after the people that are really in back of putting these riots on? And Tom Homan goes, just stand by. You're going to have some big announcements and some accountability. I do want to say, because they're trying to surround MAGA and the Trump move, everything from media to entertainment, sports, all of it. The Bruce Springsteen. Bruce, he's been whining. He's such a blue collar guy. He's whining about Trump now for the last 10 years. He's put out a new song, The Streets of Minneapolis. Now, it took the crack War Room production team and our Denver RAV partners to really put some great video on this. But let's go ahead and play a little bit of this song, then I'm going to go to Georgia.
Through the winter's ice and cold, down Nicollet Avenue, a city of flame fought fire and ice neath an occupier's boots. King Trump's private army from the DHS, guns belted to their coats, came to Minneapolis to enforce the law, or so their story goes. Against smoke and rubber bullets in the dawn's early light, citizens stood for justice, their voices ringing through the night. And there were bloody footprints where mercy should have stood, and 2 dead left to die on snow-filled streets, Alex Pretty and Renee Good.
Bruce is thrown in for the revolution. It's kind of catchy. It's kind of catchy. Bruce is throwing down for the revolution. Hey, Bruce, can we get you down to Fulton County, Georgia? Going on offense, folks. They are in full meltdown. I tell you how serious they know the FBI situation is in Fulton County. They went into total meltdown last night, and then tomorrow when they woke up and thought about it, it's even bigger meltdown. Of course, Tulsi Gabbard being down there, although it is a crime scene. I know she's for national security and intelligence. Going to be knitting a lot of things together. Let's go. I want to go. We got Sally Grubbs. Let's go to Sally first. Sally, first off, I got you, Garland, Dr. Jan Johnston, who I think's in the car heading down to the location. Also, Jason Frazier. A huge day for you guys. 5-6 years of effort to do this. The nation thanks you. The hard work. Caroline Jeffords, all these tough Georgians. You had every opportunity to blink, and you guys did not. You were relentless about this. It led to that. Led to the FBI raid and the getting of hopefully all the material that Cleta laid out in the document, right, in the search warrant. Sally, any update? First off, how does it feel after all those years of fighting and being mocked and ridiculed and sued and all that? How does it feel this morning?
Well, Steve, it's kind of surreal. It's like it's just a good feeling to know that the FBI was there, that they were following procedures. Apparently, even the Shay Alexander, the clerk of the Fulton Superior Court, said that they were documenting everything. I know that the Democrat narrative that came out last night was that, they didn't know, what was going to be happening. But the clerk, Shay Alexander, made it clear that everything was being properly documented. And, Steve, we just want people to follow the law and obey what's been requested and comply. And, none of this would have ever happened if they had complied to begin with and not been fighting every step of the way. And, if you have nothing to hide, you hide nothing. And so to see people upset at this happening, it really makes you stop and wonder, okay, why are they upset? Why is, according to law, for example, I sit on the Georgia State Election Board, and one of our codified responsibilities is to investigate, and they've done everything they can to avoid an investigation. And so we wouldn't be here if people just followed the law.
Let me hang on. In fact, if we can get a panel up there, I want to get these folks so people can get reacquainted with them. Garland Favorito, and Sally, I'll come right back to you. This is called in narrative warfare, getting ahead of a problem. You saw last night, I'm glad my team pulled that, because it was Simone over there at that show, The Weeknight, which is, from their perspective, a good show. They bring the heat a lot. They got ahead. They're quite worried about the 315,000 uncertified votes that Georgia told them were certified. And they say, oh, this has already been taken care of. There was a thing, and they apologize. It was a clerical error, but it didn't mean anything. And you'll know that these people are bad people if they try to make a big deal about this tabulator. Talk to me about the evidence that was picked up yesterday. Garland, if it had not been for you, I think getting a protective order on January 6th of 2021, right, we wouldn't even be here today. But you see already the MSNBC particularly is trying to get ahead of this narrative by saying, oh, yeah, but of course, they admitted to a mistake, a clerical error. 315,000 hadn't been certified, but they really hadn't. Of course, Garland Favorito and these guys came in, or the state came in twice and checked it, nothing to see here. Garland, what did we pick up yesterday, and why is they so particularly concerned about this massive uncertified group of votes, sir?
Well, Steve, there's so many things there. Just to back up, to give you a little quick history, this case all started on November 14th of 2020 when at the Fulton County hand count audit, the senior poll managers, Susie Voles, Barbara Hartman, and others, found counterfeit ballots during the hand count audit. We know that these were counterfeit ballots because they were not creased from being mailed. They were written on the with toner instead of a writing instrument. And they were on the wrong paper stock and voted the same way down ballot dozens of a row. So we filed the original case. That was myself and Caroline Jeffords and some others. That was back on December 23, 2020. And the judge, as you said, Steve, on January 7th, gave us the protective order that has been in place ever since. We went up to the Supreme Court, got in one standing, came back down. They still wouldn't show us the ballots. But there's so many things that are interesting about this narrative that you're talking about. The first narrative is, I think that we should be thinking about is, why aren't the voters entitled to see the ballots of their own election? And that is something that these crazed anti-Trump media will never address head on. Every voter in America should be able to get access to their ballots after the election is conducted. There's no reason to withhold them. There's no link between a ballot and a voter. There is virtually no excuse whatsoever for hiding those ballots. And we have gotten the ballots from other counties. Only Fulton County in the state of Georgia is resisting. And I think the reason is, to get to your point, Steve, is that they know that these ballots will not add up. We already know from the electronic records that Fulton County has certified at least 16,000 votes for which they have no ballot images. If they have no ballot images, they have no ballots. And then on top of all that, you've got, as you just said, the missing and unsigned tabulator tapes. There are probably another dozen errors and things that will come out that Fulton County has done, and in order to try to backfill the results to make the 2020 election results look legitimate.
The FBI wanted me to also remind the audience that this is a criminal investigation. They don't come down to just for a civil. And what they put that tape around yesterday, they considered that a crime scene because it was holding evidence of massive potential federal crimes. So this is as serious as we get. The media is melting down, and here's why they're melting down, folks. Three things. Number one, the 2020 election was stolen, and we're finally going to have an opportunity to rub their nose in it, okay? If it wasn't stolen, Rachel Maddow would have led the effort years ago to get these ballots out there. You know, if it wasn't stolen, they would have rubbed our nose in all of it, right? To prove that Trump and MAGA in the war room, and Garland Favorito and Sally Grubbs and Jan Johnston, Jason Frazier, everybody was a bunch of kook wingnuts. They would have rubbed your nose in it. You would have known every aspect of it. If you saw the long faces in the Georgia officials that got in there and blocked two members of the Georgia State Election Board from even walking into the thing like they were freaked out. And then you see the media overnight. It's the shock that happened when it happened and how they're like, why are people down there? Why are they even down there? And then this morning, they're tripling down. Yes, media, write this down. This has everything to do with 2026, as does Minnesota. We're never going to allow another election to be stolen like you've stolen them in the past. Short break.
On the streets of Minneapolis.
When the lights go down, the truth comes out.
This is built like a chicken McNugget, but...
This is After Hours with Alex Stein. No filter.
You're a globalist. You don't care about America.
No apologies.
You're a pro-abortion when you should have been aborted.
The undisputed king of trolling.
I was recently sexually assaulted within the metaverse.
I want to vaccinate your mom.
They tried to cancel us.
Deplatforming works.
She wants to kill babies, but she's still beautiful. Look at that booty on AOC. That's my favorite big booty Latina.
Politics, culture, hypocrisy.
They want them to have their penises cut off.
Uncensored and uncontrolled.
Cut your penis off, Max.
That's what I'm saying. They admit they want to cut people's penises off.
Late night just got dangerous. After Hours with Alex Stein. Coming soon to Real America's Voice. Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with this Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Most people know the biblical story of David, the shepherd boy who fought Goliath and became king. Well, Angel Studios has created a new animated film called David that tells the story of Israel's greatest king.
There's a light I've always followed when I'm looking for the way, when I'm searching for the answer, in the moments I'm afraid. There's a whisper in the wind, and a story in the sky, when I'm looking for a lantern to illuminate the night. If you want the secret of freedom and feeling alive, you gotta follow the light. Follow the light.
For those who love great animated classics like The Lion King and Prince of Egypt, David is an awe-inspiring animated musical that depicts David as a spirited boy who fought lions, giants, and even betrayal, depicting how one boy's faith could lead him to be king of Israel. David will be released in theaters just in time for Christmas on December 19th, but your family can get a head start by watching the prequel to the film, Young David, which is streaming exclusively right now on Angel. It's perfect for the entire family and has memorable music. So once you join the Angel Guild, you can start watching Young David right now and prepare the fam for the David film in theaters in December. And by joining the Guild, you'll guarantee 2 free tickets to see it. And it's a great value. Let's be honest, going to the movies isn't all that cheap. But if you're a member of the Angel Guild, not only do you get those 2 free tickets to David, but you'll now have access to every single film or TV series on Angel at your convenience.
Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
The most important lesson of all this is about resilience and being anti-fragile. This is the lesson of the revolutionary generation. If you don't quit, you'll eventually win. Remember that war dragged on for 8 years. They had every opportunity to negotiate, every opportunity to compromise, every opportunity to just say, it's too much. We'll cut some deal with the British and we'll come back in and, we'll figure it out. Remember, one member of that signed the Declaration of Independence actually asked for amnesty when in I think September, October of 1776, less than 100 days after he'd signed the Declaration of Independence, guy from New Jersey, because of the British Army sweeping down and driving Washington back across the Delaware River into Pennsylvania. It's easy to quit. It's hard, particularly when you're an average citizen. It's hard to stand up. The money, what they try to do and sue you and mock you and other to you. Make sure you can't go out in public and do anything. This is a magnificent lesson. And we need to embrace this of what it's going to take to win, to save your country. That's why these patriots, remember on this show, we were banned by every platform in the world the show, because of 2 things: going after Fauci for the pandemic and the election integrity. So by the time that Favorito and the guys in 2021 finally got this and we were hammering, we were banned on every platform and the show took off like fire. People found the show. Of course, Real America's Voice, obviously our distributor, but people found the show and the podcast. The show blew up. Why? People wanted information. And yesterday is a payoff after years and years and years and years. Favorito and Tamara could have quit. Garland and Tamara could have quit. Jason could have quit. Sally Grubbs could have quit, picked up another topic. Dr. Jan could have quit. They all could have quit. It's easy to quit. This gets back to the lesson in Minnesota. There are 20 million illegal aliens in this country. They're just not going to magically disappear. We're going to have to get tough. And Tom Homan today, that was a reach out. Like, he's been there. Tom Homan's a tough guy. He's a good man. I love Homan. I love Bovino too. I think Bovino's did a terrific job. And President Trump is trying to be magnanimous. Okay, what do you got? And they're slapping him in the face. Ellison and Fry, Punk Fry and Walls are sitting there going, no, we're not, we're a sanctuary city, nothing. But that's okay. He's showing the country, President Trump's showing the country, hey, I'm trying to listen. I'm trying to somehow accommodate, but they're not going to do anything. That's for a whole of government. You're going to have to. It's 2 sides that are diametrically opposed, like in Georgia. And in Georgia, you got the same problem in Minnesota, because the controlled opposition of the Republican business establishment will always crater and always take the knee, because they don't care. As long as they get their tax cuts and their deregulation, they're happy. They make more money. They don't care about saving this republic. They'll deal with Gavin Newsom if they have to. They're not on you. They're not with you on the social issues anyway. They think you're a bunch of troglodytes. Jan Johnston, where do you think we are today? The president's going to have a cabinet meeting at 11. I'm sure he's going to have some things to say about this. He is, I think, very focused. And MSNBC and CNN should understand, Simone is correct. This is about 26. It is about 28. Yeah, absolutely. And Minnesota is too. We're never going to ever allow you to steal the election like you did in 2020. And you're not going to use illegal alien invaders, right? And all these sham programs, refugee asylum. It's not going to happen. You know why? Because the Patriots in Georgia show you, when you hunker down and do not give up and show resilience, if we don't quit, we win. What is the lesson for today, class? Let's take the number 2 pencil out and write it down. Because in Georgia, Caroline Jeffers and these heroes and patriots that had the Republican Party down there sticking the knife in them every day. Dr. Jan, can you give us an update, ma'am?
Yes, Steve.
You're exactly right. If we don't learn what happened in 2020, we won't know how to approach or how to direct elections, future elections. So that's the lesson there. Although 2020 was a completely unexpected election outcome, it was the allegations of irregularities and inconsistencies that led to the investigations and the cases reported to us on the state election board that indeed there were violations of election law. There was double counting of votes. There was double scanning of votes. There were allegations of possible counterfeit ballots that have never really been completely investigated. So if we don't really complete the investigation and learn if and what happened in 2020, we will not know how to approach our future elections in a safe and really secure way and a trustworthy way. Very simple. So I celebrate this step that the Department of Justice took, the FBI, by obtaining the election documents. We were still trying to negotiate, but Fulton County wanted to extract over $400,000 from the state election board just to produce documents that we absolutely did not think we could trust them to produce in the first place. So I'm quite happy with yesterday's events.
I just want to reiterate, this is a criminal investigation. They're going to get to the bottom of this as a crime. So MSNBC and CNN suck on that. This is a crime. That was a crime scene. This is criminal evidence. This is why you had the FBI down there, all the FBI folks and pulling, the panel truck and everybody watching this and making sure everything's loaded up and then taken out. Dr. Jan, I just also want to give your eyewitness account. You're on the state election board. Sally Grubbs is on the state election board. You're officials in the election ecosystem in Georgia. When you went down there, the Democrats in Fulton County made sure that they hunkered down and were Praetorian Guard around what the FBI was doing, and I think tried to slow them down. Would they let you near anything, even to see what was going on, so you could be observers as you should have been?
Steve, we were not let in through the locked doors, although county official after a county official walked past us. And every time they would open the door, Sally Grubbs or I would introduce ourselves, and let them know that we were on the state election board and we would like to observe. And we were turned away or declined every single time. So we were basically kept outside of the warehouse area while county elected official, county Fulton Board of Elections were all allowed to go in.
Sally Grubbs, why is it the Democrats, we're now 5 or 6 years into this, why have officials in Fulton County fought you every step of the way? Why have they even yesterday not let you and Dr. Jan even near it? I think the question people have, if there's nothing to hide, if they have all the evidence and all this evidence shows that President Trump lost in Georgia, why have they fought you guys for 5 or 6 years every day to make sure that yesterday never happened, ma'am?
You know, Steve, I wish I had an answer for you. And the best answer is usually the simplest one, which is if you have nothing to hide, you hide nothing. And it really upsets me now, particularly because I sit on the state election board, for it to be made into a partisan issue. And it was clearly made into a partisan issue yesterday when Dr. Johnston and I did exactly what she said. We would shake hands, introduce ourselves, and say we would just like to observe. After all, the state election board currently has a subpoena for the documents and contents that were taken by the FBI yesterday. We just wanted to observe, and this is about, it really and truly is a nonpartisan issue. This is about the citizens' votes. This is about the citizens of Georgia and them being able to have confidence and trust in their elections. And this is one thing I've talked about for years, is the fact that if you allow illegal voting in any county, it affects citizens in every other county, because I call it voter suppression. I believe that's true voter suppression. I know other people call it vote dilution. But when you have this occurring in Fulton County, what about the citizens in other counties around the state that don't have these issues within their election process? And then, if we sit by and we allow it to happen in Fulton County, that dilutes or suppresses the votes of other citizens. It doesn't matter how you vote. Every legal vote should count. Illegal votes should not count. It's very simple. And when they want to cover it up and obfuscate and keep us outside the doors and prevent us from watching as independent observers on the state election board, I think that speaks volumes.
Jason, let me bring you this conversation. You've been working with Garland for a while. Talk to me about the mainstream media, the left, is freaking out because they're sitting there going, oh, my God, this is about 26. Trump's going to steal 26. You and Garland and your organization is an outside independent group to kind of make sure that elections are fair and square. They should be concerned. I mean, this is not simply about the 2020 election being stolen, which would be the biggest crime in American history. Let me just repeat. It would make Watergate look like nothing. It would be the biggest crime in American history. But it's also going to inform how we go forward. Is it not, sir?
Absolutely. I mean, if you don't look at what happened in 2020, which they have not wanted us to see, you can't make any changes. You can't fix a process, whether it's, accidents did happen. Let's fix the mistakes and move forward. But they do not want us to see anything from 2020. They don't want us to see the ballots. They don't want us to see the ballot envelopes. They don't want us to see who voted. They don't want us to see the voter rolls. They don't want us to see anything. They just want to say, hey, everything was fine. Our guy won. Move on. Well, you know what? We can't move on until we've seen what happened. So that doesn't continue to happen. And we've seen all kinds of issues in Fulton County on the voter rolls. That's where I have focused. We've seen vacant lots where people are registered to vote. We've seen homeless shelters where there's 2,000 people registered to vote. We've seen MARTA stations where people are currently registered to vote. And we just want clean voter rolls. We want clean elections, and whoever wins, wins. I think that's what every one of us, that's what we're looking for.
With the evidence you've brought up of that, have they embraced anything to make changes in that to clean up the voter rolls, or have they fought you every step of the way?
They have fought me every step of the way, Steve. I mean, the first time I found a pair of duplicate registrations, same person registered twice at the same address, Fulton County's told me, we don't even want to see that. That's not our responsibility. So what did I do? I put it in an email. I documented it. I made public comment, and by God, they took it. And so once they did, I've given them now 11,000 sets of duplicates just in Fulton County. These are people registered 2, 3, 4, 5 times in Fulton County. Not even counting the people that moved out of state that are registered in multiple states. I mean, this is why the DOJ needs voter rolls nationwide, so they can check to see if you moved out of Georgia, you should not be registered in Georgia anymore. But Fulton County will not take them off. And you've got to ask yourself, why would Fulton County want somebody that doesn't live in Georgia on the voter rolls? There's only one logical conclusion, Jason, and we need that fixed.
Exactly. Jason, hang over a second. I've got the entire Georgia team, or let's say a representative group of this great group of patriots in Georgia, Caroline Jeffords, all the folks down there. You have shown the nation what resilience is. You've shown the nation what grit is. You've shown the nation what perseverance is. You've shown the nation what human agency is. I told you every day is not going to be a sunny day. They're going to have some cloudy days. Monday, over the weekend, there was some clouds coming in. We're going to get to the sunlit uplands, and the way we're going to get there is human agency. Just like the revolutionary generation, we are not going to quit. We're never going to quit. Bruce Springsteen takes us out with the streets of Minneapolis.
When the lights go down, the truth comes out.
This is built like a chicken McNugget, but...
This is After Hours with Alex Stein. No filter.
You're a globalist. You don't care about America.
No apologies.
You're a pro-abortion when you should have been aborted.
The the undisputed king of trolling.
I was recently sexually assaulted within the metaverse.
I want to vaccinate your mom.
They tried to cancel us.
Deplatforming works.
He wants to kill babies, but she's still beautiful. Look at that booty on AOC. That's my favorite big booty Latina.
Politics, culture, hypocrisy.
They want them to have their penises cut off.
Uncensored and uncontrolled.
That's what I'm saying. They admit they want to cut people's penises off.
Late night just got dangerous. After Hours with Alex Stein. Coming soon to Real America's Voice. Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with this Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Most people know the biblical story of David, the shepherd boy who fought Goliath and became king. Well, Angel Studios has created a new animated film called David that tells the story of Israel's greatest king.
There's a light I've always followed when I'm looking for the way, when I'm searching for the answer. In the moments I'm afraid, there's a whisper in the wind and a story in the sky. When I'm looking for a lantern to illuminate the night. If you want the secret of freedom and feeling alive, you gotta follow the light. Follow the light.
For those who love great animated classics like The Lion King and Prince of Egypt, David is an awe-inspiring animated musical that depicts David as a spirited boy who fought lions, giants, and even betrayal, depicting how one boy's faith could lead him to be king of Israel. David will be released in theaters just in time for Christmas on December 19th, but your family can get a head start by watching the prequel to the film, Young David, which is streaming exclusively right now on Angel. It's perfect for the entire family and has memorable music. So once you join the Angel Guild, you can start watching Young David right now and prepare the fam for the David film in theaters in December. And by joining the Guild, you'll guarantee 2 free tickets to see it. And it's a great value. Let's be honest, going to the movies isn't all that cheap. But if you're a member of the Angel Guild, not only do you get those 2 free tickets to David, but you'll now have access to every single film or TV series on Angel at your convenience.
Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Okay, we're going to do wall-to-wall coverage of Georgia, the FBI raid. There's going to be a lot more coming out. Garland, where can people, your closing thoughts for today? We're obviously going to have you back on. Closing thoughts, what people should be thinking about, make us smarter, and then where do people go? What are your coordinates to get to you, sir?
Thank you, Steve. So first of all, it's voterga.org. And I've got to say a big shout out to Dr. Jan and Jason, though. Jason has been on this for years on the voter rolls. We know that about 20% of the voter rolls are invalid registrations. And Dr. Jan has fought this by herself on tremendous pressure for the last few years on the board. So a huge shout out to them. They haven't been quite as visible as I have, but they've worked so hard. And we are at voterga.org. I think you're going to see much more coming out. We haven't even talked about the electronics yet. The votes just do not add up there. And that's why they are so in panic mode and melting down. And again, so a lot of the information we have is at voterga.org. And we are all volunteers, Steve. And right now there's one of our generous donors is offering a 3X match for the next 2 days for any donations that come in. So thank you so much for having us.
So hold on, where do people where do people go to donate right now? You've been at this fight a long time.
voterga.org
on 3.
VoterGA on the donate tab. Right there, just click on the donate tab.
Yeah.
And it's right on top.
To the ramparts. Thank you. Thank you, Garland. Jason, your thoughts, sir, as we punch out of here.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday I am still glowing. I mean, that was a beautiful day. We've been fighting like hell for this. I've been trying to expose the issues on the voter rolls to show, hey, we've got a problem here, guys. And Fulton County has just fought every step of the way. I was nominated to be on the Fulton County Board of Elections in 2023. They blocked my seat for the first time in Fulton County history. And then that was backfilled by Julie Adams, who is doing an amazing job. I was nominated again in 2025, and my seat is still sitting empty today. We only have one Republican on the board at the moment, so we need to get that filled. And you can follow me on X at Jason Frazier USA. I'm going to try to keep exposing the problems, keep showing the world the issues with the voter rolls, and one of these days I'll get on the Fulton County Board of Elections, and I will be able to help from there. So thank you.
Amen. With tons of support. Dr. Jan, yesterday, historic. I also want to mention before she bounces, the Fannie Willis, they went after a bunch of these people for criminal charges. They wanted to put them in federal prison for standing up and being honest citizens. The president was going to they were going to send him to prison forever. Down there, they tried to intimidate with lawfare. Fulton County, this is how corrupt it is. Fannie Willis, that entire disgusting mess for the world to see. Business Republicans, right? All you business guys, Kemp in that crowd. This is what you brought on yourself because you didn't stand in the breach when you should have. And you just let good old boy politics go. It's not going to work. Not in the modern world. It's not going to work. Dr. Jan Johnston, you're a hero, ma'am. Some closing thoughts here.
So, Steve, I'm a volunteer appointee to the State Election Board. And I think if these findings had been known at the time, there never would have been a Fannie Willis grand jury and the indictments. I think the repercussions of not allowing these investigations to occur and to be timely revealed had a profound impact on what happened in Georgia. So I look forward to anything that will improve the integrity of our elections. I think the elections, as I've always said, I want elections that are fair and trusted and legal and orderly and uniform. And that has not changed from the first day that I was appointed to the board. And thank you for having us.
And where can people track you down, ma'am?
I'm just on Twitter at Dr. Jan, Election Advocate.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you. Berquam?
Thank you.
Oh, let's go to Vernon. You're joining us, sir. You got something, Vernon Jones, you got something to say about what's going on in Georgia, the FBI raid, sir?
Okay, can you hear me now, Steve?
Off mute, Vernon. There, yeah, I hear you now, sir. You got some thoughts on Georgia?
Okay, good. Listen, Steve, thank you so much. I am traveling South Georgia. I'm down here in Thomasville, a place called the Pickle Patch, a great lunch place. But listen, you're hearing about this. You and I know going back 5 years ago, we were talking about election integrity. We were trying to fight what was happening. The Stop the Steal rallies were going on. This is nothing new. When you hear Raffensperger and Gabe Sterling say these are more or less errors, these aren't errors. That's what the lawyers tell them to say. They screwed up. We always said that the elections were not free, fair, nor were they transparent. Many of us, as you know, Gabe Sterling went on and said that we were wrong. There was no election. There was no widespread fraud. Well, if there was no widespread fraud, how wide was it then? We know there were issues. We know there were problems. And I'm just so glad to see something happen finally. They need to be held accountable. That's why I'm running for Secretary of State, Steve, because, I told you a long time ago, there's a dead cat on the internet line. There's a cover-up. There's an intent not to give information, even to the federal government. Again, this is, if your house is clean, why are you worried about who's coming inside of it? And so I am glad what the FBI is doing. There needs to be more of it. And look, I've found where there were drop boxes that were not located on government property like it was supposed to be by the law. 5,000 people located at one address, 2,000 people at another address. The facility has been closed for years. There's a dead cat on the end of the line, and we are going to fix it. We're going to uncover all of this irregularity. And I'm going to tell you, Steve, it's fraud.
Vernon, you're the worst nightmare of the Republican establishment down there. Where do people go to find out more about your campaign for Secretary of State in the great state of Georgia?
Thank you. They can go to Vernon Jones, SOS2026.com. That's Vernon Jones, SOS2026.com. That's Vernon Jones, SOS2026.com. Thank you, Steve, but we're not going to back off. I am their worst nightmare. I'm the liberals' worst nightmare because we're going to unveil what's going on here in Georgia. There's a lot more to come, Steve.
Fight on, Vernon. Look forward to having you back on.
Thank you, brother.
One more time, a hat tip to the great patriots in Georgia. In the trenches. Fix bayonets. That's how you win. Victory begets victory, too, folks. Going to get a big old victory up in Minnesota. Not going to back down. President Trump heard him out. They got nothing to say. They're complete obstructionists. And yes, MSNBC and CNN, Minneapolis is exactly where we're not going to let the 2026 be stolen. No way, no how. Short commercial break. Bruce Springsteen's new song, The Streets of Minneapolis Take Us Out. Is that good? You had enough of that so far? We're going to return. I think the cabinet meeting's about.
When the lights go down, the truth comes out.
This is built like a chicken McNugget, but
This is After Hours with Alex Stein. No filter.
you're a globalist. You don't care about America.
No apologies.
You're a pro-abortion when you should have been aborted.
The undisputed king of trolling.
I was recently sexually assaulted within the metaverse.
I want to vaccinate your mom.
They tried to cancel us.
Deplatforming works.
She wants to kill babies, but she's still beautiful. Look at that booty on AOC. That's my favorite big booty Latina.
Politics, culture, hypocrisy.
They want them to have their penises cut off.
Uncensored and uncontrolled.
Cut your penis off. That's what I'm saying. They admit they want to cut people's penises off.
Late night just got dangerous. After Hours with Alex Stein. Coming soon to Real America's Voice. Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with this Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Most people know the biblical story of David, the shepherd boy who fought Goliath and became king. Well, Angel Studios has created a new animated film called David that tells the story of Israel's greatest king.
There's a light I've always followed when I'm looking for the way, when I'm searching for the answer. In the moments I'm afraid, there's a whisper in the wind and a story in the sky. When I'm looking for a lantern to illuminate the night. If you want the secret of freedom and feeling alive, you gotta follow the light.
This is the primal scream of a dying regime. Pray for our enemies, because we're going medieval on these people. You're just not got a free shot on all these networks lying about the people. The people have had a belly full of it. I know you don't like hearing that. I know you try to do everything in the world to stop that, but you're not going to stop it. It's going to happen.
And where do people like that go to share the big lie? MAGA media. I wish in my soul, I wish that any of these people had a conscience.
Ask yourself, what is my task and what is my purpose? If that answer is to save my country, this country will be saved.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Okay, Thursday, 29 January, year of our Lord 2026. One more time, Caroline Jeffords, Kurt Olson, Cleta Mitchell, the Favoritos, Tamara and Garland, Jason Frazier, Dr. Jan Johnston from the Georgia Election Board, and obviously Sally Grubbs, and many, many, many more volunteers. Hundreds, maybe thousands that have worked on this. Yesterday was a huge day, and we would have never gotten there without you. And so now it's time to press on. It's a criminal investigation, as the FBI informs me. And so they're taking this obviously very seriously. If you saw the search warrant, it's quite detailed. We're going to have more on that. Also, Ben Berquam is going to join us in a moment. We're going to go to the cabinet meeting in a moment. Berquam asked a magnificent. Berquam, I'm so proud today. He's so well trained. His question was magnificent. I told him at the time, it was amazing. And all that sea of people making huge money, Ben Berquam cut to the chase with Homan. And look, the president's trying to not accommodate. He's trying to be open and say, tell me what you got. And all they're doing is slapping him in the face. Fry and Ellison, just see them on MSNBC last night. They're a sanctuary city. They're not going to force any immigration laws. Ellison couldn't have been ruder last night. And remember, what Homan said is that I had a good meeting with Ellison. He went there. He's good. And he may. Why don't we throw him in jail? What do you mean he may? Tom, brother, he may. That's a violation of federal law. Let's go in and roll him up. Let's roll up the guys in charge of the prisons. Give it a time. Give it a day or two. But may, if they don't do it, go roll them up. Brother, you're trying to be accommodating. I got it. And the targeted enforcement, we got to see them on the streets. The roving patrols in the streets work. You know why? We had 2 million self-deport. That's the best solution, is say they figure, hey, I can't do this anymore. All the freebies are gone, right? All the freebies are gone. I can't use the health care. I can't use anything. And so it's absolutely terrible. What is is Ben Bergquam? Hey, Ben, I got Matt Boyle. I got to get to Boyle. Do we have his clip that we can play? Let's play the clip because I want to get Boyle's thoughts too. This is Ben Bergquam at the press conference of Tom Homan today. Let's go ahead and let it roll.
First off, Ben Bergquam, Real America's Voice News. On behalf of the American people, I just want to say thank you to you and to all of the agents that are putting their lives on the line to go after the people that were allowed in the last administration. We watched that happen in the media, the honest media, covered up by many of the media that are behind me. We want to say thank you, and to all the men and women that are out there. Can you talk to us about what's being done with the leadership on these signal chats, on these WhatsApp chats that are organizing the attacks against you, the obstruction against you? Are we going to be arresting those individuals as well? And to the folks out there in America that voted for this, that want mass deportations because they saw a mass invasion under Joe Biden, what would you say to them? How are we going to get to that point?
Well, first of all, about the organization and the funding of the attacks on ICE. I'm not going to answer a lot about that because I'm not going to show our hand, but they'll be held accountable. Justice is coming. Again, we got to all remember why the questions we've seen and why we're here. What started this? 4 years of an open border where millions of people are in this country unvetted. Remember, let's not forget, for 4 years, we were told the border was secure. 4 years, we were told the border was secure. And we all knew it wasn't. And I want this to be a positive thing we're doing here today. I also want to remember the politicians are continually attacking us. Where were they the last 4 years when the number of women and children sex trafficking went all-time high? Where were they when 250,000 Americans died from fentanyl coming across the border? Where were they when women and children are dying making that journey? Where were they when over 4,000 families making that journey died? Historic record. Where were they? Not a word. Now we're just trying to respond to what happened the last 4 years and keeping this country safe. And we're arresting a lot of public safety threats, take them off the streets, which makes this country safer. President Trump promised to make this country safe again, and that's what we're doing. But my 2.5 days up here, we made a lot of progress. I think everybody agrees on the criminal and public safety threats. They agree it's much safer and easier to arrest an alien in a facility than send a whole team out in the field that's going to draw anger. Because now we got to send a bunch of people to do something that could have been done by 1 or 2 people. And I've said this for years. I have no ill will to anybody in Minnesota. All the people I talk to, we're never going to agree on everything. We have different philosophies and different opinions on immigration, but we all agree this is a way to go to reduce safety, reduce crime, not reduce safety, reduce crime, and increase safety for our operations. More people in the jail means less people on the street. It's simple math.
Boyle, I'm going to go to you. I'm so proud. Ben Bergquam, magnificent question. I'll take small credit for the formation of Ben as a great reporter. Yeah. Boyle, you went through the process. You had Tucker and Andrew, then yours truly had forming you as a young cub reporter to be the titan, the Goliath you are today. We're going to talk about your poll in a minute. But just right there, you caught Bergquam. I got to tell you, this is the difference between a guy that works at his job, is going to ask a straight question, and the rest of the sycophants over the mainstream media that were all trying to do narrative building around what happened. Your thoughts, Matt Bull, of what you just heard?
Well, yeah, I was very proud to hear that question because, by the way, that if I had a reporter at that press conference for Breitbart, that's exactly the question I would have told them to ask. And I workshop questions with our team all the time when they're talking to the president and other people around him and so on and so forth. And we regularly have people at a lot of these press availabilities that you see with President Trump and other people in the administration. So it was exactly the right question. I think that the thing that they need to zone in on is these it's essentially a militia that these radical leftists, essentially terrorists, have stood up where they are coordinating and communicating, building dispatches and patrols, etc., to disrupt federal law enforcement. I mean, that's the definition of an insurrection, I think, right? Like, I mean, it feels a lot like kind of like the Whiskey Rebellion or something, right? Like, from history, right? Like, and so it's up to the federal government to not tolerate this. So either we're going to tolerate it where people who are unelected are going to be able to go out there and engage in this terroristic activity, interfering with the elected leadership's law enforcement, or not, right? Like, and so do we have a democracy or not, right? Like, I mean, for years we heard the left screaming that we have a democracy. Democracy is under attack. Well, the people who are engaged in these signal chats and patrols and dispatches against ICE and other Homeland Security law enforcement officials in Minnesota are engaged in an attack on our democracy, right? Like, the federal law enforcement officers who are there are there at the direction of the elected president of the United States, and the President Trump legitimately won the election in 2024. Anybody who's claiming that he didn't is ridiculous. And again, that's the second part of Ben's question is what Homan would say to the people who voted for this. They voted for mass deportations. The president was extremely clear about this when he campaigned over the course. I mean, I spoke to him multiple times. I know you did, Steve. I know that he talked about this in every single rally speech, in the debates, in every forum that he had. He talked about immigration and the need to deport criminal illegal aliens and broader mass deportations. It was extremely abundantly clear that that's what the American people were voting on. It was the number one issue, right alongside the economy, in the 2024 election. And President Trump won all 7 swing states in a landslide election and the national popular vote, and even more so than 2016, assembled a new political coalition of working class voters that included young black men and Hispanic voters who were also very clear that they knew that this is what they were voting for. So this is, again, the people that are engaged in subversive actions against the United States on this front are essentially engaged in an insurrection. So how the president handles this is going to define a big part of his presidency, right? So what he's decided to do clearly is dispatch Tom Homan there to see if they can take the temperature down and get cooperation from state and local officials. We'll see what happens, right? Like, apparently they're all, given the hubba, saying the right things sometimes, other times not. But then the question is, do they cooperate?
Yeah.
Minnesota is holding
100%.
either in state or local officials thousands of criminal illegal aliens in prisons throughout the state. Are they going to cooperate with federal law enforcement and allow the federal government to deport them? Plain and simple. Really simple question. Are they going to stop being sanctuary
by the way, you're
states
saying,
and cities?
yeah. Yeah, they laid it out. Pam Bondi laid it out, the 4 requests in the letter, which they don't want to address. And by the way, whatever they're saying in the meetings, they're not saying that on MSNBC. They couldn't be more arrogant. Hang on, Matt, because I got to get other thoughts on you, and particularly this poll that Breitbart ran that's very illuminating about Iran. Ben, to your amazing question, and Matt just said, hey, it's militias. These are militias. You very much. Homan came back and said, Ben, justice is coming. I don't want to show my cards. I don't want to my hand. How did you read that, Berquam? You know Homan pretty well.
Well, I took that part as obviously there's investigations going on behind the scenes into these organizations and organizers. And it's a criminal conspiracy, whatever you want to call it, insurrection. There's a coordinated effort to obstruct federal law enforcement. That's a crime. And so these organizations need to be held accountable. The problem I have, just like you have, is it goes all the way up to the top. It goes to the top of the food chain in the Democrat Party. In Minnesota, it's Tim Walz. No doubt it goes into his office. No doubt it goes into Mayor Fry's office. So that's the thing. You're asking the people that are coordinating the attacks against you to be on your side, and I don't trust them at all. I mean, I think they're traitors to this country.
Now, you're in Minneapolis. We need you to be safe because you're quite well known now. Talk to me about when I hear Homan say targeted enforcement versus what we've been doing. Just tell the audience what that's going to look like.
Well, yeah, that's interesting because everything that we've been doing has been called targeted enforcement. The strategies have changed. He's exactly right. And what's interesting, too, here is if he can shift the focus, if they actually get Fry and if they get Minneapolis and the state to actually start releasing these guys in the jails and in the prisons, you don't have to send the guys out into the streets to do what's called targeted enforcement. But targeted enforcement includes a lot of different operations. That's going after the really, really bad guys, with multiple criminal felony records, as well as going into targeted communities that are, there are places in our country that are 80% illegal. And so some targeted enforcement, you want to do mass deportations, you do what they've been doing, you go into those communities and you simply get out of your vehicle and you watch who runs and you get probable cause to go track them down and check their status. So there's, all of these things are technically targeted enforcement. It just depends on who you're targeting. His message today was we're going to refocus on the heavy criminal element as our priority, and we'll deal with the other guys later.
Hang on a second, Ben. Ben, on the streets of Minneapolis, Bruce Springsteen's going to take us out with his version of it. I want to thank the team, my own production team, and the guys in Denver for putting together some great footage. Ben's going to stick around. We got Matt Boyle, an incredible poll that the Breitbart guys did. Very, very, very smart about the situation in Tehran. And much, much more, including an upcoming cabinet meeting that we'll cut right into as soon as it starts. President sure is going to have a couple of three things to say. Gold blowing through. I can't even tell you what gold's blowing through. Just go to Birch Gold right now and check it out. Short break.
When the lights go down, the truth comes out.
This is built like a chicken McNugget, but...
This is After Hours with Alex Stein. No filter.
You're a globalist. You don't care about America.
No apologies.
You're a pro-abortion when you should have been aborted.
The undisputed king of trolling.
I was recently sexually assaulted within the metaverse.
I want to vaccinate your mom.
They tried to cancel us.
Deplatforming works.
She wants to kill babies, but she's still beautiful. Look at that booty on AOC. That's my favorite big booty Latina.
Politics, culture, hypocrisy.
They want them to have their penises cut off.
Uncensored and uncontrolled.
Cut your penis off. That's what I'm saying. They admit they want to cut people's penises off.
Late night just got dangerous. After Hours with Alex Stein. Coming soon to Real America's Voice. Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with this Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Most people know the biblical story of David, the shepherd boy who fought Goliath and became king. Well, Angel Studios has created a new animated film called David that tells the story of Israel's greatest king.
There's a light I've always followed when I'm looking for the way, when I'm searching for the answer. In the moments I'm afraid, there's a whisper in the wind and a story in the sky. When I'm looking for a lantern to illuminate the night. If you want the secret of freedom and feeling alive, you gotta follow the light.
For those who love great animated classics like The Lion King and Prince of Egypt, David is an awe-inspiring animated musical that depicts David as a spirited boy who fought lions, giants, and even betrayal, depicting how one boy's faith could lead him to be king of Israel. David will be released in theaters just in time for Christmas on December 19th, but your family can get a head start by watching the prequel to the film, Young David, which is streaming exclusively right now on Angel. It's perfect for the entire family and has memorable music. So once you join the Angel Guild, you can start watching Young David right now and prepare the fam for the David film in theaters in December. And by joining the Guild, you'll guarantee 2 free tickets to see it. And it's a great value. Let's be honest, going to the movies isn't all that cheap. But if you're a member of the Angel Guild, not only do you get those 2 free tickets to David, but you'll now have access to every single film or TV series on Angel at your convenience.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Birch Gold, take your phone out. Text Bannon, Bannon, at 989898. Ultimate guide, totally free, no obligation, investing in gold and precious metals in the age of Trump. This is the quick and dirty, and you can get right to Philip Patrick as gold is on fire. As we've told you, it's not the price, it's the process. Same with silver. Or if you want a deeper set of analytics, go to find out what the process is, what's driven gold, why central banks are buying it at record rates for now the 3rd or 4th year in a row. Birchgold.com, promo code Bannon, the end of the dollar empire. Was that a good call 4 years ago, 5 years ago? We saw this coming in Biden. He took it down 28% in his 28% destruction of the dollar and let in 15 million illegal aliens. How's that for a successful presidency? Birch Gold, get to Philip Patrick and the team. I may try to have Philip on today since gold's exploding, silver's exploding. Get there, make sure. In fact, I'll put the clips up from Philip on the show the other day. Fear of missing out. You've got to deal with that. Understand the pattern recognition. Ben Bergquam, we're not going to let you freeze in the streets of Minneapolis. Give us your coordinates. We'll get you back at 5, sir. I know you're going to be out and about and busy today. Where can people track you down on social media?
Well, of course, Real America's Voice, new episode Law and Border coming out next weekend. And my social, at Ben Bergquam, on just about everything, frontlineamerica.com. And then our foundation, if you want to help ICE and Border Patrol, frontlineamericafoundation.org.
Thank you, brother. Great question. A tremendous hookup with the ICE guys, Tom Homan, and we'll talk to you at 5.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Matt Boyle, we started the show, and we finished yesterday. We did an hour live during the raid. We did an hour with the same pages down in Georgia. I mean, you know, these folks have worked for 5-6 years to make sure we got to yesterday, the criminal investigation by the FBI. Your thoughts, sir, on the 2020 election and the mainstream media meltdown this morning about, this is all about Trump stealing 26 and 28. Your thoughts, sir?
Well, let's put it this way. A judge signed off on this warrant, okay? So they clearly have something that they took in there to get a judge to sign off on this warrant, and we'll see whatever comes of all of this. But my guess is there's a lot more to it than people realize. If the FBI director and the director of national intelligence, apparently director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, is down there, right? If these people were personally, intricately involved, which appears to be the case on this, there's probably a lot more to it than we know. And from covering stories like this with Law Enforcement Matters, Federal Justice Department things, raids, the FBI, investigations, it oftentimes takes a lot longer than those of us who in the media industry and also the broader general public would like to get clarity and answers. I've covered stories that take 10 years to unravel, right? For instance, I broke the story before I even worked at Breitbart, back when I worked at the Daily Caller. It was one of the last stories I did there back in 2012 about Senator Bob Menendez and corruption and whatnot. And he didn't go down until a decade later or longer, right? So it's these things take time for these to develop and to flesh out and for evidence to emerge and for the feds to take steps in the right direction. So I think that there's a lot more than we know about all of this. I would imagine that they are figuring out even more things about it all. So we'll be watching it very closely. And then in addition to that, I would just say more broadly too. Believe me, I get the frustration out there that people want to say there haven't been wide-scale arrests, right? Like of the people who did the Russia collusion hoax, or people who did weaponization of government during Biden or Obama or things like that. And I agree with those people, right? Like I agree, but again, the good guys are in charge right now, right? Like, so, you've got Bondi and Patel and, Ratcliffe, and these folks are in the Tulsi Gabbard leading the federal government, and obviously President Trump is the president. I would say keep the faith a little bit longer. I had a huge story that I did over the weekend, late, while we were all snowed in here in the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., working with the CIA, and I spoke to the CIA director, and he's very careful with what he says about things. But one of the things that we talked about was about the weaponization and the Russia collusion hoax and everything, and this has been a huge focus of Director Ratcliffe's, even dating back to when he was DNI in Tulsi's job back in Trump's first term in 2019, 2020, and he's been laser focused on this. And he said something a little bit cryptic in there about how he doesn't want to speculate or peruse whatever the Justice Department may or may not be doing, but everybody needs to be held accountable. I don't think a guy like Ratcliffe says a thing like that unless he knows a lot more about what may or may not be coming. So again, I kind of have a feeling there's a lot more in the works than people realize. So again, while I get the frustration that's out there in the Republican base and the Trump base, the MAGA base, and I want to see as much more action as everybody, I also think that the good guys are trying here. And so keep the faith. The good stuff is coming. That's my message.
Okay, talking about good stuff as the president's focused on obviously what's happening in Georgia with the FBI raid, in Minneapolis, and many more places right around the country where it's actually going much better because you don't have, as you called, this militia in the streets. They paid for by, as Peter Schweitzer said, the great Breitbart editor, the invisible coup, which is #1 New York Times bestseller, folks.
Yep.
Make sure you get it. We got to make it #1 for the second week in a row. Militia. We keep saying the problems of the country are not in Tehran. And we got to focus on things that, we got all kind of things we have to get done that must get done. And then there's other things you can kind of think about. What you guys did at Breitbart is quite brilliant. You got one of the best polling organizations. You said, hey, let's put a poll of this about what's the real support. And then we'll ask a couple other questions. Because I keep saying when they see these polls that they support this, well, you might support it on day one, but like in Iraq, do you support it on year 4? No, you don't. It gets down to 10%. It drives Bush into permanent shame. Talk to me about your poll that you guys worked through about this situation of the bombing of Tehran, sir.
Well, it's not our poll. JL Partners, which is one of the best pollsters out there, they actually nailed the 2024 election and got it right that Trump was going to win the national popular vote. They did the poll, and they gave it to us exclusively ahead of releasing it publicly. But the gist is that, yes, Americans don't like the regime in Iran. And I'm going to, in case you cut back to me, I'm going to be looking down at my phone to read you the exact numbers so that way people understand this. So, yes, Americans don't like the Iranian regime and would love to see America topple the Iranian regime. However, when they ask the follow-up question, how many American lives are you willing to risk to remove the Iranian regime? The majority of those who support, both among the broader American public and among specifically Republican voters, risking even one American life drops significantly. So again, the numbers here show that 36% of broader Americans supposedly support U.S. toppling the Iranian regime, 18% strongly and 18% somewhat, 21% oppose. And then among Republicans specifically, the support for toppling the regime in Iran from the United States goes higher. It's 60%. But in both cases, among those who support toppling the regime in Iran, they're asked, how many American lives are you willing to risk in so doing? And in both cases, 51% said none. They're not willing to risk a single American life. What that means when you really drill down on this, because if you're going to topple the regime in Iran, you're probably going to cost American lives, right? And then once you start getting higher and higher in the numbers, then some people are willing to go up to 10 American lives or up to 100 or up to 1,000 or whatever. It's very, very few that are willing to go higher than that. But when you really get into it, the real numbers are among the broader American public, around only 14% that support America toppling the regime in Iran. And among Republicans, it's not really 60%, but it's down around 21%. Right. So this is a total drop off in the numbers when you actually count the loss of an American life, which would probably be likely if this happens. I think Americans love what happened with Maduro, right, where it didn't cost a single American life. It looks like there's the new leader there is an American puppet and doing whatever Rubio and them want her to do. If they could do something like that in Iran, I think that we would be open to that. But the question is that optionality going to be presented to the president?
We had an expeditionary strike to end the 12-day war because the Israelis couldn't finish what they started. We had to come in and do it. And of course, we now know it was all lies because the Times of Israel published the cabinet minutes that said it was 2 years before they really had any nuclear program worthwhile. That being what it said, President Trump totally obliterated. It was a massive expeditionary force. The United States Navy did as much as the B-2s with the cruise missiles technology from the late 1970s with fast attack submarines firing from the North Arabian Sea. President Trump rolled the iron dice of war again, and we were very fortunate. And remember, the Chinook pilot, as Prince said, could have lost 30 special forces, but it came out. But the American people don't support in Tehran, because if you don't support the loss of American lives, then you don't support it, because it's going to get gnarly. We got to bounce, Matt. Brilliant poll. Great presentation. Where do people get you, sir? Matt Bowl, the great Matt Bowl from Breitbart. Where do they go?
At Breitbart.com, on X, Twitter, at MBoyle1, and on True Social, at Real Matt Boyle.
We're featuring Bruce Springsteen, The Streets of Minneapolis, his attempt at a protest song. Dude, you're Bruce Springsteen, you're fake and gay, as the kids say. Short commercial break. Back in the war room. A cabinet meeting is about to start, but we have a very special guest, so we're going to slide in beforehand. Short commercial break. Back in a moment. Make sure Birch Gold, take your phone out. Text Bannon at 989898. The ultimate guide to investing in gold and precious metals. Don't forget silver. The Birch Gold guys made this call 5 years ago. The end of the dollar empire. Soft dollar under assault, gold on fire. A little profit taking today, but it ain't the price, it's the process. Short commercial break. Back in the war room in just a moment.
On the streets of Minneapolis.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with this Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Most people know the biblical story of David, the shepherd boy who fought Goliath and became king. Well, Angel Studios has created a new animated film called David that tells the story of Israel's greatest king.
Followed when I'm looking for the way, when I'm searching for the answer. In the moments I'm afraid, there's a whisper in the wind and a story in the sky. When I'm looking for a lantern to illuminate the night. If you want the secret of freedom and feeling alive, you gotta follow the light. Follow the light.
For those who love great animated classics like The Lion King and Prince of Egypt, David is an awe-inspiring animated musical that depicts David as a spirited boy who fought lions, giants, and even betrayal, depicting how one boy's faith could lead him to be king of Israel. David will be released in theaters just in time for Christmas on December 19th. But your family can get a head start by watching the prequel to the film, Young David, which is streaming exclusively right now on Angel. It's perfect for the entire family and has memorable music. So once you join the Angel Guild, you can start watching Young David right now and prepare the fam for the David film in theaters in December. And by joining the Guild, you'll guarantee 2 free tickets to see it. And it's a great value. Let's be honest, going to the movies isn't all that cheap. But if you're a member of the Angel Guild, not only do you get those 2 free tickets to David, but you'll now have access to every single film or TV series on Angel at your convenience anytime. So just go to angel.com/Rav and join there.
Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty,
everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
Rav has stood strong.
We're not going to tolerate this stuff anymore.
Turn that anger into motivation to save this nation.
When we move together, there is power.
The cries of this widow will echo like a battle cry.
This is more than news. It's a movement.
This revolution of people taking their countries back.
A turning point. A chance to be part of something greater than yourself. Scan the QR code and stand with Rav. The story isn't over, and neither is your part in it. Step in, be counted, be heard. Together, we.
Minnesota, we've been through a lot. A beloved leader and her husband murdered in their home, little kids gunned down in a church, the killings of Renee Good, a mom of 3.
And Alex Preddy, a nurse who took care of our veterans.
3,000 ICE agents on our streets and in our towns, sent by an administration that relishes division. We cannot sugarcoat how hard this is. But in these moments of enormous difficulty, we find strength in our Minnesota values of hard work, freedom, and simple decency and goodwill. These times call for leaders who can stand up and not be rubber stamps of this administration, but who are also willing to find common ground and fix things in our state. These times call for grit and resilience. I've learned resilience from you. Through it all, you do not give up. You put on those winter boots in the freezing cold and bring your kids to school.
She'll wander around. Klobuchar, you gotta get focused. You just wander around. I could go on. It goes for a couple more minutes. Mike Lindell, you smoked it out. Amy Klobuchar, that's her official announcement. She eventually gets to saying she's running for governor, but I'd rather have you talk than her. Mike, your governor. No, your governor's campaign. You got Walz out of the race because he knew he couldn't beat you. He also knows he's going to be indicted, but he couldn't beat you because you'd be hammering him every day. Now you've made the Senate so much harder for the Democrats to try to take over because you smoked Amy out, and you know her pretty well. You know her weaknesses. So this is going to be a good old fashioned Donnybrook. Your thoughts, sir?
Well, you know, what she failed to mention in a commercial there, Minnesota being the Trojan horse for Sharia law, we've had to battle over the last 10 years. Fraud in our elections, with Minnesota leading the way for the nation in fraud. And 18 billion minimum stole from Minnesota, from all of us taxpayers, and Amy, at one time, you know, she's flipped on so many things, including the election, when she wanted to get rid of the machines, go to paper ballots in the movie Kill Chain in 2018. I've reached out to her many times. All of a sudden, she never responds about our elections, which is pouring out now, everybody. Isn't it great that with Georgia and everything pouring out, we were right all along, because there's only one truth, everybody. Remember that. There's only one truth. And Amy's going to have to answer to all this. And all this would happen on her watch. Let's not forget, just because you trade the players and you move Waltz over here and Keith Ellison over here and Elon Omar, Amy, you were here too. You watched it all happen and you did nothing. So you're right, Steve. It's going to be an all-out battle. I'm looking forward to it. And I do know her weaknesses, but I also know our strengths. And we are going to have the biggest advertising campaign this country's ever seen. And I have as everybody knows, I was part of our great president's campaign, and there's a lot of things that we did then that we're going to do here in Minnesota to beat Amy Klobuchar.
Okay. But now the battle's defined. It's Klobuchar, and they're doing this because of you, not because of the woman from the House. That's ridiculous. It's because of you. They fear Mike Lindell, and because Mike Lindell brings MAGA. Mike, real quickly, everybody thinks that's great. You've served the country. You got her out of the Senate. Talk to us about what they really want to know is you can sell them a pillow or a blanket, a topper, or a mattress, sir.
All right. Well, I'm going to first tell everybody we need MikeLindellGov.com. I really need your help right now. We're going in this next month. We're doing all kinds of. We're starting our campaign now. I mean, I figure I'm going right up against Amy. We've got to win, and so I need your help. MikeLindellGov.com, and if you guys can help out there, and then of course everybody with my pillow. I'm back here right now in my office here, and downstairs my operator's standing by. We're running the sale you waited for all year, and that's our My Pillow mattress topper and mattress sale. You guys have all took advantage of this. Free shipping on your entire order. The best mattress topper and mattress. I helped design them. They give you the best Delta sleep, the best sleep cycles you can get for your body. A queen size has over 10,000 individual comfort support. These were built to give you the best sleep ever. They come right to your front door, 6-month money-back guarantee, 10-year warranty. You guys get the best sleep of your life. Go to mypillow.com/war room, and then you're going to see all of our mattresses, our mattress toppers, all made in the USA, of course, and everything to go with your beds to make them the best sleep rejuvenation stations, I call them, ever. And then don't forget, we have the blankets, as low as $25, closing them out. Over 250 products, free shipping on your entire order. Promo code War Room 800-873-1062. I'm going to go down and take about 10 calls right now. Good. I can't wait to talk to you, War Room Posse.
Let's do it. War Room Posse, call right now. You get Mike. Mike, we'll see you this afternoon. Great work. Smoking Amy Klobuchar out so they can't take the Senate now. Peter Schweitzer, The Invisible Coup, is New York Times #1 bestseller. War Room Posse, you put your shoulders to where you did it. Well, Peter on the next couple of days. He's going to be on Saturday, interviewed by Jan Jekulek from American Thought Leaders, Epoch Times, all of it. He's got the new book. The next #1 bestseller we're going to have is Killed to Order. Jan, you've been working on this for how long? This is about that horrible practice of the Chinese Communist Party of organ harvesting from live individuals, sir.
20 years ago was when I first realized that there's this industrial scale murder for organs industry in China. I didn't want to believe it. I really didn't want to believe it. I mean, and we're not talking about this garden variety, black market organ trade, which actually happens horribly around the world. This is a whole different thing. You need a state actor or someone who's able to mobilize mass propaganda and basically mass incarceration. So that's what you need. You need to be able to push a whole lot of propaganda into the system so that you can dehumanize a group of people. So people look at that group of people that you're targeting a little bit lower, right? A little, not quite human, perhaps. Then you need to be able to incarcerate them. You need to have massive state security apparatus. And then when those people are now incarcerated, you can blood type them, tissue type them, and organ scan them. And now when someone, say in America, is looking at an ad, it says 2 weeks, I can get you a new heart. It'll cost you $200,000, let's say, but you can get it because that person on the other end is incarcerated. It's a prisoner of conscience, most typically a Falun Gong practitioner, but also Uyghurs were later added when the world decided to do nothing.
Jan, can you hang on for 1 second? We got to cut to the cabinet room of the president. Hang on for 1 minute. Let's go to the cabinet.
So I think that's basically what's happened in our first year. We've had an amazing year, and this will be our first cabinet after the year, so we're starting our second year. Tremendous progress has been made. I want to thank my entire cabinet for 12 months of unprecedented achievements. We really have. I mean, it's unprecedented. The numbers we've had on the economy and growth, you see them, and that's despite a Democrat shutdown. Without the shutdown, we would have picked up about 1.5 points more than already high numbers, record-setting numbers. So this has been, I think, and a lot of people say it, the most successful year of any administration in American history. First year, there's never been a first year like this, including the fact that we put out, extinguished 8 wars, and another one we think is coming. Steve Witkoff's working very hard, and Jared and everybody else, and I think it's coming. It was just announced that the murder rate in our country is the biggest drop ever recorded. It's at the lowest level in 125 years. First in recorded history, it's the lowest in at least 125 years. That's a wonderful thing. And that crime is way down, and one of the reasons was we've taken a lot of bad people and gotten them out of our country. In some cases, they're so bad that we put them in prison because we don't want them to even take a chance of coming back in, even though our border is very secure, record-setting secure. We had 0 illegal aliens being admitted into our country for the last 8 months. That's hard for even me to believe, but the people that make up the lists are supposedly nonpartisan, but I would say they lean toward the Democrat side. And if they say that, I'm all for it. As you know, we've had a situation take place with respect to Venezuela. I want to just thank General Kane and his staff. The job that they've done is incredible. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And once it did take place, I want to thank the leadership of Venezuela. We're getting along really well with them. The relationships have been very strong, very good. And they have informed me that they feel there's very good security, very strong security. We're working with the various people involved, including Chris and Doug and everybody on the oil. We have the major oil companies going to Venezuela now, scouting it out and picking their locations, and they'll be bringing back tremendous wealth for Venezuela and for the United States, and the oil companies will do fine too. Venezuela will actually make for themselves more money than they've ever made before, and that's a good thing. And the people of Venezuela were literally in the streets waving American flags. They were so happy. And the people in our country, like in the Doral section of Miami, which is considered Little Venezuela, they're thrilled. And I just spoke to the president of Venezuela, informed her that we're going to be opening up all commercial airspace over Venezuela. American citizens will be very shortly able to go to Venezuela, and they'll be safe there. They'll be safe. It's under very strong control. And the people of formerly of Venezuela, some want to go back and some want to go back to visit, and they're going to be able to do that. So I've instructed Sean Duffy and everybody else concerned, including the military, that if you would, by the end of today, I'd like you to have the airspace over Venezuela. Planes can go to Venezuela opened up. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank all of the people in Venezuela for what they went through, and I want to thank the leadership for really they're doing a good job. And just as I promised, we've defeated the Biden inflation nightmare and achieved explosive new economic growth. The Atlanta Fed is predicting an astounding 5.4% GDP growth in the fourth quarter, and that's despite the fact that we had a Democrat shutdown. We would have had, that number would have been 7%, which is a number nobody's ever heard of. And we've been given great national security because of tariffs, and we've also been given unprecedented income because of tariffs. Part of the income that we gave, $12 billion, we gave to the farmers of our country. So that yesterday I was up in Iowa, and they were very happy, Madam Secretary.
Yes, sir.
They were very, very happy. They were great. So the GDP growth in the fourth quarter was great. And it's going to be, I think we're going to have an amazing and incredible year. Hopefully we won't have a shutdown. We're working on that right now. I think we're getting close. The Democrats, I don't believe, want to see it either. So we'll work in a very bipartisan way. I believe not to have a shutdown. We don't want a shutdown. And just yesterday, the S&P 500 hit 7,000 for the first time ever. There's never been any time at which it's done like that. And the other stocks also, I think it was 52 times for the Dow, had hit a record high. But the 7,000 was not a number that was even thinkable if you go back a year ago. So S&P hit 7,000 for the first time ever. The stock market has set, it's actually 53 all-time record highs since the election, adding $9 trillion in value to savings, retirement accounts, and 401ks. And I mean, everybody benefits, but we have record stock markets. Companies have never done well. And most importantly, if you think about it, after 4 years in which Biden got much less than $1 trillion of investment into our country, actually it was taken over 11 months, even though we're 12 months. In 11 months, we've taken in more than $18 trillion. So they did less than $1 trillion, Scott, in a period of 4 years, and we've done $18 trillion in less than 1 year. So there's never been anything like that. No other country has done those numbers, by the way, in history. 10 years ago, one country did $3 trillion. No other. We did $18 trillion is being invested now. Thousands of businesses, plants, equipment all over the country are being built right now. And they're going to be opening pretty soon. And when they open, you'll see numbers like nobody's ever seen before. The economy is doing amazingly well. I wish the press would report it, but people are finding out. They're seeing it. It's coming. It's becoming pretty evident. It's hard to hide. Biden inflation, which is really stagflation, cost the typical family $34,000. Think of that, $34,000. But after 1 year, growth in real incomes is outpacing inflation by more than $3,000 under Trump. So one cost $34,000 and one made $3,000. That's a big swing. Gasoline has plunged to, think of this, over $4 a gallon, depending on where you are. In California, it's $7, $8 a gallon. While I was in Iowa, and they had $1.85, because I had it at $1.99 a gallon. And I was corrected by two farmers that said, I just bought my gasoline for $1.85. So, Chris, you have to be doing something right, you and Doug, right? But I don't want to give you too much confidence. You got to keep it going. We're drilling, I think I can say we're drilling more than at any time ever in the history. We're taking out more energy out of our land, but specifically, if you look at oil and gas, we've never been anywhere even close. Is that a correct statement?
That is correct. All-time records.
Yeah, great. It's a great job. Well, it's supply and demand. So that's going down rapidly. And, you know, when energy goes down, everything else goes down. They tried to do their thing. It was a disaster. Then they ran back very late to the Trump policy, but they didn't do the Trump policy. They cut leases. They did everything that they could do, but they lost it. And they were very high, and we're now less than $2 in many areas, $2.30 a gallon average. Grocery prices, airfares, hotels, car payments, and rent prices are coming down very fast. And you don't hear the word affordability issued by the Democrats anymore. Now they're going into other things because they're getting beaten badly on affordability. Remember that when I was elected, I came into office, I inherited a total mess, starting with eggs, which were 4 times higher than they were just a year before. And Brooke got them down very quickly before Easter. They said they wanted me to buy plastic eggs for the egg hunt, at the very famous egg hunt at the White House. Sir, would you buy plastic eggs? And we buy a lot of, like 100,000 eggs. They said, we're not going to buy plastic eggs. And by the time we had the egg hunt, a few months later, we had the prices down pretty good. And now they're really low. Now they're at a very low level. So we really have, you don't hear the word affordability because we inherited very high prices and we inherited the highest inflation in 48 years. I say the history of our country. I think it sounds almost the same. Actually, I think 48 years sounds actually worse for some reason. So I'll go with the 40 because the press corrected me. I said history and they said, it's not history, it's 48 years. I said, I'll accept that. And we had the highest inflation in 48 years. We have now as you saw yesterday with the Fed, I'm not a fan of his. He said that inflation essentially is not a factor. It's really been pretty amazing. I just put out a statement about his statements. I won't repeat them here because they're too angry. And thanks to our tax cuts, millions of Americans will soon receive record-setting tax refunds. You're going to get a lot of tax refunds, with the average refund expected to be over $1,000 higher than it has been at any time. So we're going to be getting some pretty good refunds, a lot of people. If congressional Democrats had their way, Americans would right now be facing the largest tax hike ever. You know, their proposal was to raise taxes very substantially. And our proposal, which is in the great big beautiful New Deal, it's a New Deal in its own way. It's a Republican version of the New Deal. Right behind you is a nice picture of FDR. This is a much better deal than the FDR deal. But we have the great big beautiful bill, and it's given tremendous tax cuts and a lot of other things. People are now finding out how good it is, and it's just kicked in as of January 1st, by the way. So we're really starting to see it. Even though it's a month, we're really starting to see it. The U.S. economy would be cratering if they had won this election. Our country would be in very bad shape. Would be maybe not much of a country anymore. I don't think it would be a country anymore. They were doing everything wrong, but they were going to give you the largest tax hike in history, and we're giving you the largest tax cut in history in the great big beautiful bill. In addition, I think it's very good. I think it's very important. You have no tax on overtime, no tax on tips, and no tax on Social Security, but you also have, you're getting this is the first time this ever happened. If you buy a car, you go out and borrow money, you get an interest deduction. You take the interest rate, the interest that you're paying on the loan, you're able to deduct it for income tax purposes. So that's a first ever, and I think it's going to be great for everybody, including the car companies. I was in Detroit 3 weeks ago. I went to the Ford factory, spoke to the General Motors people. It's all the same. They're doing better than they've ever done. The factory I went to was like a World War I, earlier than World War I factory, opened up. One of the oldest buildings, but one of the biggest. And Ford was getting ready to close it a couple of years ago, and then they saw that I was doing well, and it looked like I would have a good chance of winning. And they kept it going, barely going. And last week they announced, during my visit, they announced that they're going to round the clock. Around the clock production. They never thought it was. I said, did you ever think? I spoke with Bill Ford and the president of Ford. They were both there, and they said, we can't even believe it. We were going to close this building 2 years ago, and now it's going round the clock. They said, we cannot. I mean, they said, we wish it was twice the size, but they're now building additional plants in the United States, as is everybody else. You have AI building, but the car companies, I love the car companies, and you have them, they're all coming back. They're coming back from Mexico, they're coming back from Canada, they're coming back from Japan, and they're coming back from Germany, all over Europe. They're coming back, they're building here because they want to avoid the tariffs. They don't want to pay the 15%, in some cases 25% tariff. Could be a lot higher than that if it wasn't working. So because of that, they're all coming back. One statistic yesterday that Scott told me is that for the first time ever, tell them about the steel in Japan, that we are now making more steel. Go ahead, please.
So yesterday they reported for the first time in 26 years, the United States of America produced more steel than Japan. Wow. And that is entirely driven by your tariffs.
Amazing.
He obviously said that much better than I did, because I got no applause that I'm giving you home run after home run. He says one thing and everybody else. I should have saved that one for myself. No, but think of it. First time, and they read almost 30 years, but I guess it's 26, 27 years, that we are now producing more steel than Japan. Japan being a big steel producer. Japan and other countries really took our steel production away from us. Now, if you think of this, 3-4 years ago, the steel companies were all closing up. We worked a fantastic deal with U.S. Steel. We saved U.S. Steel. And now it's all coming about, but and that's just the beginning. There are a lot of steel plants right now being built. So that's an amazing number. Nobody would have believed that. If you would have said that 3, 4, 5 years ago, people would have said, yeah, it's not a true fact. But so it has to be true, because otherwise you question me on everything. I have to be extremely accurate. I don't exaggerate it. I don't want to exaggerate, because you will call me. You don't call other people, but you would call me under my most favored nation spot, which I think is the most important thing, Bobby, of all what we've done, because we're bringing drug prices down by 80, 90%, depending on the way. You could say 5, 6, 7, 800%. Depends on the way you want to calculate it, right? But let's go the old-fashioned way. But drug prices for prescription drugs will be down 80, 90%, 75%, 68%. They've only gone up for years and years and years. They've only gone up, and now we're going to have essentially the most favored nation. We're going to have the most favored price in the whole world. Whatever the lowest price in the world is, that's what we're going to pay. And I don't want to go into a big deal, but nobody else could have gotten this but this administration. I'm being very nice when I say that. The cost of prescription drugs is coming down by a number that was never even thought of. This will have a huge impact on healthcare, by the way, because obviously drugs are a big part of healthcare. And it will help repair some of the Unaffordable Care Act's damage that they've done, because the Unaffordable Care Act, which is Obamacare, it's unaffordable. It's not affordable. And it's a disaster. And hopefully we will be paying money directly to the people instead of giving the insurance companies the money. They'll go into a healthcare savings account or whatever it is. But think of it. We pay the money, billions and billions, really trillions of dollars, going to insurance companies. We want that money to go to the people. They buy their own health care. And it's so popular. The problem we have is the Democrats are owned by the insurance companies. They're literally owned lock, stock, and barrel by the insurance companies, and they hate it. But the people love it, including all Democrats. So I think we'll perhaps be successful with it. But it was an idea I had. I read the papers, and I'm reading one of the stories about the insurance companies, how much money they're making, where they received, billions and billions of dollars for this stuff from the United States of America, and their stock has gone up by 1,400%. Think of it, 1,400. One went up 1,700%. Numbers went up. If you go up 1,000%, you're doing bad in that business.
This is Stephen K. Bannon in the War Room. We're now going